Today on Rock Solid, we'll be having an intimate chat with one of Nigeria's latest exports musically. This singer, songwriter, guitarist, and all-round musician was nominated at last year's Headies in 5 different categories: Recording of the Year, Best R&B Single, and Best Collaboration for his single Stupid Song, as well as the Best R&B Pop Album for his Supersun album and the Best Vocal Performance. At this point, I'm sure you know who our guest is. If you don't, relax, he'll do the honors.
Full names are Emmanuel Bez Idakula. Bez is actually short for Bejiwa. I'm from Karu, local government in Nasarawa. I grew up in Jos. Jos was a really exciting and fun place to grow up in. Jos is like abroad, I think. When it comes to the weather, it comes to vegetation, it comes to just a lot of things and how people just relate to each other. So think of a really small town, and like think of all those books you read back in the day when you were small, like Enid Blyton series, when they talk of, there's a small town, there's a cottage, you could go to your friend's house and everything. So it was that kind of, very family oriented, very interactive.
How did this small town boy make the transition from the regular next door guy to the music Marvin that we now know him to be? Let's go to the very beginning and find out.
Primary school, which is Kent Academy. Kent Academy was attended by the likes of Hawa Mukan, if you know her, Emma Abaga as well, went to Kent Academy, and it was really amazing. It was an American primary school, so you had things like fun fairs, you had music recitals, you had plays, you had to do musicals. So I think that was the foundation for me, growing up in an environment that gave me just so much music and gave me so much experience in expressing myself and my art. My dad used to play the guitar, and I think it was just genetics. It was, in my veins when I was giving birth to.
Childhood and growing up was all rosy and picture perfect for the would-be Supersun's crooner. That was until a very sad incident caused their fortunes to change. Or so they thought.
When I was in secondary school, I lost my dad. He was in a car crash when I was in just 2. And he was the breadwinner of the family, obviously, and my mom was a caterer, is a caterer still, so it was very difficult for her to, bring up the school fees, and pay for school fees when, you have a child in the school that is 180,000, that was in 97, and you have children in the university and a child in another school. So it was really tough for her. And we were actually thinking of, hey, you might have to withdraw because there's no way you're going to pay for these fees.
Fate, it seemed, had other plans in store for young Bez.
Somebody came randomly, and an anonymous person paid my fees from just 2 to SS3. And it was just such a shock for us. When I got to university as well, it was almost the same thing. Sometimes people will be like, have you paid your tuition for this year? I'm like, no. Okay, come get a check. As simple as that. I'm not asking. Maybe I just go to see my friend, and my friend's dad is asking me these questions. So there's just been a lot of favor towards me, towards my completion, towards completing my education. And I just thought that this was happening for a certain reason, that I may be a blessing for other people as well, that I'll be able to affect other people's lives positively.
It was during his second year in the university that Bez Idakula found out precisely the medium that he could use to affect people's lives.
Alright, so I went to Covenant University in Otta, the famous Covenant University. Spirituality was one of the major things I gained from going to Covenant University, and that was where I discovered that my purpose was to do music and use this music as a vehicle to add value to a lot of people.
Once he found his path, Bez didn't waste any time. He defined himself, his music.
Well, my genre of music now, as a Supersun album, I would call it alternative soul. Alternative, just being put before a major genre, gives you the liberty, the ability to play with a lot of sounds. So you have soul as your backbone genre, you have soul as your major genre, but you have some hints of rock, some, you know, pop in there, you know, some R&B, some jazz, you know, and then just mix it up to give you an eclectic sound.
And so with love for his art, knowledge of his path, and hope in his heart, Bez set out in pursuit of his dreams.
I got into the music industry in 2007. Immediately I finished university, and Asha had already opened the doors for this kind of sound, so it was easier to penetrate.
They say that practice makes perfect, so from his story, it'll be safe to say that Bez had a lot of practice time.
Tell yourself, I'll be the best in the world, you know, but what is the journey towards being the best in the world? I started my career in 2007, and basically what I was doing from 2007, 2008, 2009, and 10 was playing somewhere called Tarua. Tarot is like spoken word poetry, you know, and people just come out, you know, hang out, and then, you know, just be in a creative space and share art, you know. So I used to play there every 2 weeks because my sister ran it, and then she left Lagos, so I had to run it.
Perhaps this is the key to the richness of his music that we have come to love so much. One of the major aspirations Bez had as an upcomer in the music industry was to work with the legendary producer and songwriter Cobhams Asukwo.
I met Cobhams in 2008. Before then, I'd been chasing him. You know, I never, like I just said it, because I wanted to work with him so bad.
This determination paid off.
So it was this random phone call I got I think it was on a Sunday, I can't remember. And then he was like, hi, you may not know who this is, but this is Cobhams, you know. And I was like, oh wow, I've been looking for you like crazy.
A very busy schedule didn't provide much room for this chance meet with Cobhams. However,
I went the next day, took my guitar, you know, I had my hat back, you know, swag, you know, and that was just the beginning of open doors for me, because it just gave me so much confidence after that somebody so great and such a legend in the industry could, you know, be so accepting and really amused by the music.
And with that, the path that was forged in the flames of determination and understanding of one's purpose and ultimately the favor of God took a turn for better.
You know, I just had a concert with close to 1,000 people, and that was amazing. That was like my biggest concert so far. You know, a lot of people still say it was their best concert for the year 2012.
Bez has gone to several countries to perform with his band. He was also called up to give a presentation at a conference held at the prestigious Harvard University. According to the crooner, this past year has been a great one. We often hear that the road to success is marred by challenges and obstacles. Bez's journey hasn't been much different either.
Challenges in it, you know, like getting booked for shows, you know, needing to play with the band all the time, because I play with the band all the time. I've never used a CD to perform before. And when you have bookers looking for you to book you, you know, they want somebody who just comes, slots in the CD, gets on it and leaves. But then we need to send you a technical writer. We need to tell you we need these certain kind of mixers, not this kind of mixer. So it's more headache for them, and sometimes they stay off, you know, booking us.
With all the accolades he has received so far, is this the end of the road for Bez? We wonder, is this his end game?
I'm definitely not where I want to be. There are loads of things that I really want to achieve, but have I gotten to a certain part in my career that I'm happy with? Definitely.
Based on his wealth of experience, Bez drew from his well of wisdom a few words of inspiration to share with aspiring musicians and youths out there in general.
A lot of people are going to say things that would, you know, bring you down. Like if you go to blogs, after you put up a blog post, don't read them. These people on Twitter, the people that comment on blogs and people on Twitter, they're just like a speck compared to the amount of people that would love your music.
You heard it all from the lips of the music marvin Bejiwa Emmanuel Idakola. His was a story that appeared predestined from the very beginning. Born into a musically rich family and raised in an environment that appreciated the art and explored it in its pure form, one could say that it was written in the stars, or should we say, the sun. Well, however we put it, Bez is a super talented individual, recognized both locally and internationally, and we are proud of him.
Will be the super sun. I have a dream that someday I'll be the super sun. Will be the super sun, yeah.
Hi, my name is Bez. Be easy, we in the building. My philosophy in life is obey the rules of the world. Whatever you give, you'll receive. Garbage in, garbage out.